Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian World. I'm your host, Tanaka Batar. And for top stories, discounts on night electricity rates won't start next month. 20 to 30 calls for carbon monoxide poisoning are registered every day. Mongolian team is taking part in the World Skills Competition 2022 in 7 categories. And for the news, stay tuned. Starting from November 1st, night electricity tariff discounts will be offered to gear households that use electricity for heating. This year, it is estimated that 28.9 billion MNT will be spent on night electricity tariff reduction. Nationwide, 196,000 households in the gear districts are receiving discounts on using electricity at night. According to the 2017 government decree, there was a 100% reduction in electricity bills for households in the Gate district during the cold season. This discount runs from November 1st to April 1st every year. Since there has been no change in the government's regulations, households in Ulaanbaatar's Gir district and all provincial centers with a population of more than 10,000 will be eligible for reduced electricity night tariffs from the 1st of next month. For households, it is good to focus on ensuring fire safety depending on the electrical load. A small surcharge may apply due to changes in usage. Annually, 160,000 households are able to receive this discount. This year, a total of 259 million kilowatts of electricity will be at a discounted price. That will cost approximately 29 billion MNT. However, if households exceed 700 kilowatt of electricity, they pay for the excess themselves. If you use 700 kilowatt per hour of electricity per month, you can save 87,000 MNT from your electricity bill. Therefore, every family needs to use energy efficiently. The maximum amount of consumption allowance is 700 kilowatt per month for a household using a voltage of 220 kilowatt. For a household with a voltage of 380 kilowatt, the monthly consumption of 1500 kilowatts will be reduced by 100%. A 50% discount is provided for consumption that exceeds those limits. In 2019 and 2020, the government made it possible for 40,000 households in Ulaanbaatar to be heated using electricity. Therefore, in order to combat air pollution, every household is urged to switch to electrical heat and to insulate their homes. A Mongolian gear burns completely in 3 to 5 minutes. Therefore, experts warn that it is most important to pay attention to how your fire is burning in winter. Currently, 20 to 30 gas poisoning calls are registered daily. A Mongolian gear burns completely in 3 to 5 minutes. Therefore, experts warn that it is most important to pay attention to how your fire is burning in winter. Currently, 20 to 30 gas poisoning calls are registered daily. Therefore, 44,000 households which may be exposed to gas poisoning have installed special devices for monitoring gas emissions. Last week, 12 people from 4 families suffered from gas poisoning.
It can be dangerous when burning without having a proper chimney. Some households burning coal briquettes are in poor condition. The fire is burning in non-standard stoves that are often leaking exhaust. Because of this, it is evaporating into the air. Also, during the rainy season and when there is snow, there is a high risk of evaporation after the houses are built.
The main tissue binders of improved briquettes are produced domestically. This product reduces the sulfur content of coal threefold. Along with this, it is possible to reduce the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. In order to prevent household fires and carbon monoxide poisoning, the campaign "Fire Should Not Be Unattended for a Single Moment" is being launched. As of today, from 1,000 to 1,200 tons of coal briquettes are being bought and sold at 469 outlets. The aim is to increase the point of sale of coal briquettes to 650. When you're using briquettes, the people are required to regularly clean the chimney, to improve the sealing of the stove chimney, and regularly operate the gas sensor to pay attention to the size of the chimney above the roof. We remind you that it is possible to prevent such possible risks. The World Skills Competition 2022 will showcase 1,000 of the best young skilled talent from around the world. The Mongolian team will make its debut at the World Skills Competition in 2015, competing in 9 contests. As for this year, Mongolia is planning to compete in 7 categories. The Ministry of Education and Science hosted all the national participants and wished them success in their upcoming competition.
This year, over 60 skill competitions are taking place in 26 cities across Europe, Canada, the United States of America, Japan, and Korea as part of the 46th World Skill Competition. Notably, the city of Stuttgart, Germany, is the next city hosting industry, mechatronics, and water technology from 4th to 7th October at MOTAC.
In order to take part at the international competition, each participating country organizes a national competition and select the national winners. Our contestants have been training in South Korea and Germany before this international contest.
Just a few days are left till the main competition, but I'm feeling confident as I have taken part in contests in Mongolia and have been training in South Korea.
International skill competitions not only allow you to test your professional skills, but also exchange best practices and experience with international participants and evaluate the quality of your country's technical vocational education.
The Minister of Education and Sciences has been continuously supporting the national participants of skill competitions by providing the necessary training materials and conducting necessary health checkups before the international contest.
Teams of all over the world with the best skilled youth are getting together. So all the countries had made several competitions and have identified the best talents they have and brought them together where they compete in a world mastership. And their Mongolian team can really leverage also where is the skills level of Mongolia compared also to other countries, where further to work on also in the future Tibet sector, which gives us working in the Tibet sector also a good orientation where to concentrate in the further Tibet reform processes on.
Joinery, cabinet making, and carpentry competitors take center stage at the Hoyles exhibition, the largest woodworking platform in Switzerland, from 11th to 14th of October 2022.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Here's the international news from our partner agencies. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on Tuesday reiterated his condemnation of North Korea's latest missile launch and said it was an outrageous act that was absolutely impermissible. The ballistic missile firing by North Korea was an outrageous act that was absolutely impermissible. We will respond as soon as possible with the utmost vigilance. Today, I once again confirmed the strong will of the Japan-US alliance and Japan-US cooperation with Indo-Pacific Commander Aquilina of the United States and decided to conduct joint exercises.
Kishida said he held talks with Admiral John Aquilina, commander of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, and reaffirmed strong determination and cooperation between Japan and the United States, and agreed to conduct joint exercises, which he didn't elaborate. Kishida also said he planned to hold telephone talks with U.S. President Joe Biden later Tuesday to reaffirm strong cooperation between the two countries. Kishida also reaches his one-year milestone as a Prime Minister in Japan on Tuesday. Meanwhile, South Korea and U.S. Air Force conducted air drills on Tuesday in response to a ballistic missile launched by North Korea. North Korea on Tuesday conducted its longest-ever weapons test, a nuclear-capable ballistic missile that flew over Japan and could reach the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam and beyond, forcing the Japanese government to issue evacuation alerts and halt trains. The Joint Chiefs of Staff said that 4 F-15K fighters of South Korea and 4 F-16 jets of the U.S. took part in drills in response. In the bombing drills, F-15K fighter jet fired 2 joint direct attack munition precision bombs at the target on the non-inhabited Jigdo Island in the West Sea, according to JCS.
3 scientists jointly won this year's Nobel Prize in Physics on Tuesday for their work on quantum information science that has significant applications, for example, in the field of encryption.
Alan Aspect, John Clauser, and Anton Zellinger were cited by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences for discovering the way that particles known as photons can be linked or entangled with each other even when they are separated by large distances. Clauser, Aspect, and Zeilinger have figured in Nobel speculation for more than a decade. In 2010, they won the Wolf Prize in Israel, seen as a possible precursor to the Nobel.
This prize is an encouragement to young people, and I would mention here that the prize would not be possible without more than 100 young people who worked with me over the years and made all this possible, because I alone could not have achieved this. That is quite clear. So I look at it as an encouragement, particularly for young people. My advice would be do what you find interesting, and don't care too much about possible applications.
While physicists often tackle problems that appear at first glance to be far removed from everyday concerns, tiny particles and the vast mysteries of space and time, their research provides the foundations for many practical applications of science. They continue with chemistry on Wednesday and literature on Thursday.
This prize is recognizing groundbreaking work on something we call quantum information, and it has to do with taking these 2 photons and then measuring one over here and knowing immediately that something about the other one over here. And if we have this property of entanglement between the 2 photons, we can establish a common information between 2 different people, 2 different observers of these quantum objects. And this allows us to do things like secret communication in ways which weren't possible to do before. So this is the advent of quantum information.
The 2022 Nobel Peace Prize will be announced on Friday and the Economics Award on October 10th. The prizes carry a cash award of 10 million Swedish kron, nearly $900,000, and will be handed out on December the 10th. The money comes from a bequest left by the prize creator, Swedish inventor Alfred Nobel, who died in 1895.
Now let's take a look at our regular feature on sports. Paris will not broadcast World Cup matches on giant screens in public fan zones amid concerns over rights violations of migrant workers and the environmental impact of the tournament in Qatar. It follows similar moves by other French cities, despite France going as the defending champion. Some other European teams or federations are also looking at ways to protest. Pierre Rabadin, deputy mayor of Paris in charge of sports, told reporters in the French capital that the decision against public broadcasting of matches is due to the conditions of the organization of this World Cup, both on the environmental and social level. We have issues with these environmental and social conditions behind this event, and it is not a model for large events that we want to promote in Paris. That's the first reason, and the second one is that World Cup takes place in December, as you may have noticed, and to organize an area for a large crowd to celebrate at that time of year did not seem very appropriate. For these 2 reasons, we have decided not to set up screening areas. The move comes despite the city's football club, Paris Saint-Germain, being owned by Qatar Sports Investments. Denmark is staging its own protest. Its team jerseys at the World Cup will include a black option to honor migrant workers who died during construction work for the tournament. And several European soccer federations want their captains to wear an armband with a rainbow heart design during World Cup games to campaign against discrimination. A growing number of French cities are refusing to erect screens to broadcast World Cup matches to protest Qatar's human rights records. Qatar has been equally fierce in denying accusations of human rights abuses and has repeatedly rejected allegations that the safety and health of 30,000 workers who built the World Cup infrastructure have been jeopardized. Qatar has also said that it is mindful of environmental concerns and has committed to offsetting some of the carbon emissions from the World Cup events through creating new green spaces, irrigated with recycled water, and building alternative energy projects. Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run of the season Tuesday night, breaking Roger Maris's American League record and setting what some fans considered baseball's clean standard. The 30-year-old Yankee slugger drove a 1-2-1 slider from Texas right-hander Jesus Tinoco into the first couple of rows of seats in left field, while leading off the second game of New York's day-night doubleheader. Maris' 61 for the Yankees since 1961 had been exceeded 6 times previously, but all were tainted by the stench of steroids. Mark McGwire hit 70 for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1998 and 65 the following year. Barry Bonds hit an MLB record 73 for the San Francisco Giants in 2001, and the Chicago Cubs' Sammy Sosa had 66, 65 and 63 during a 4-season span starting in 1998. McGwire admitted using banned steroids, while Bonds and Sosa denied knowingly using performing-enhancing drugs. Major League Baseball started testing with penalties for PEDs in 2004, and some fans, perhaps many, until now have considered Maris as holder of the legitimate record. Judge had homered only once in the past 13 games, and that was when he hit number 61 last Wednesday in Toronto. The doubleheader nightcap in Texas was his 55th game in a row played since August 5th. After a single in 5 at-bats in the first game Tuesday, Judge was 3 for 17 with 5 walks and a hit by pitch since moving past the 60 home runs Babe Ruth hit in 1927, which has stood as the Major League record for 34 years. Maris hit his 61st of Boston's Tracy Stallard at Old Yankee Stadium on October 1st, 1961. Judge has a chance to become the first AL Triple Crown winner since Detroit's Miguel Cabrera in 2012. He hits the AL with 131 RBIs and began the day trailing Minnesota's Luis Arias, who was hitting .315. Here's the weather forecast of all major cities. Well, that's all for today, and thank you for staying with us. We will see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.